Spirit and heart push will and body away. The mother could feel heart rejecting her, and she took it to mean that he did not love her. She did not understand that heart needed my help to process what he received from her. Heart didn't know this either. He just felt like he couldn't allow the mother to give him certain emotions anymore. The mother was more and more left having to hold these emotions along with the judgment that they were unacceptable to Heart and to me. The longer she held them, the more they appeared to be her constant state, and that this was what she was rather than that she was being forced to hold. The more this pain went on in her, the more twisted she became, until it was not easy to look at her anymore. What had once been abundant beauty and charming pleasure was becoming more and more something I sought to avoid. I acted like I did not want the mother, and yet I could not let the mother go either. I was afraid she would turn against me, for I could feel her blaming me for what was wrong with her. I did not want to receive this blame from her, because I was busy trying to avoid my fears in this area by blaming her. The Father of Manifestation had a role in this that needs mention now. From Reflect's essence, and yet we were blaming the Father of Manifestation as though this wasn't true. As the mother's form wrapped more and more, I blamed him for it and told him he must be causing it in some way. Many of the spirits had form problems for which the Father of Manifestation was also being blamed. Many spirits wanted to say that he had given them forms that were not good enough. The Father of Manifestation was susceptible to the blame because he did feel that he was responsible in some way that he could not explain. His guilt here caused him to feel that he had to continually heal the spirit's form problems. Because the cause of the form problems was not understood to be denial, the problems continually reoccurred in spite of all the healing efforts. When the Father of Manifestation was feeling frightened over this, he blamed himself and felt increasingly inadequate. When he grew tired of feeling this way, he often became enraged, and his rage blamed everyone else. The Father of Manifestation had blame for me, but it got very seriously denied, because the more I polarized away from the mother, the more he could not help but polarize along with me, since he is me, although we did not know it yet. This made it appear to the mother that we had more alignment with each other and in opposition to her than we really had. But I was not consciously very aligned with my body. I did not even recognize it as me. I found it annoying when it looked like body opposed me, but I was also annoyed if he copied me. The alignment of spirit, will, heart, and body will bring healing to form and health. Guilt is the reason that most people suffer from these problems anyway, because guilt in the place of my light does not nourish life, but brings the punishment of death instead. Lack of alignment, guilt, and denial twisted form, and form will untwist itself in response to the regaining of alignment. Along the way, form may need some help. There may be periods of time when you feel that you need medical help or the help of holistic healers. You may need help adjusting your dietary patterns to your changing emotional patterns. Your muscles may need massage. Your bones may need to move. Do not force things faster than you have readiness to heal them, is my caution to those who want to rush ahead to the day when they are totally healed. To those who view this process as agonizingly slow, I want to say that the preferences to go through everything that has to be gone through will bring healing to everything in the end. Just because you are moving with this healing does not mean that you are always going to be balanced within it. When you feel you need help, get it and learn from it rather than judging yourself a failure because you had to have help. Healing yourself means doing all you can in the way of moving emotions, letting go of old belief systems, and listening to your changing needs. Help from others is not wrong when this is what you feel you need. Taking responsibility for the help you seek and being the director of your own healing is the key issue here. That determines whether you are healing yourself or not. Pressuring yourself not to be sick is valuing the appearance of health over true health and is not the right approach to this healing. Trying to make others responsible for how you feel is not the right approach either. But you have to accept it as part of the process along the way and move the feelings you have here, because you do have a lot of blame based on old pictures of how things were in the past. As long as these feelings remain, the old pictures that go with them will be acted out. The Verdoloka and the other rainbow spirits have blame. They have held back from the beginning for the mother and the father of manifestation for not being more aligned with me at their emergence. Even more than night is blame toward me for not being aligned. The rainbow spirits have always felt that a better alignment at their emergence would have given them a better start in life. Many behavior patterns have resulted from this, including the many Jewish parents who are so intent on making sure their children get a good start in life. And they are often overbearing with their children and pushing about helping them get started in the world. Fear and anger are hidden in these behavior patterns. The Verdoloka, along with everyone else, held back the feelings they had towards the mother and the father of manifestation. When this happened, the true feelings emerged in other ways, and I have had to learn to read them. The understandings I have given the heart spirits now are the same understandings I gave them so long ago, except for the parts involving my own responsibility, because I did not have those understandings then. Having taken responsibility for myself, other spirits can now take responsibility for themselves, and healing will succeed this time. Just as I have found that it is in your position to follow me, I have also found that you cannot precede me, even when I try to help you do it. This is very angering to spirits who like to think that they have a position equal with me. You are all going to have You are all going to have to move the emotions you have around the issue of who I am, what I am, and what your relationship is to me. Some of you have put yourselves above me, some equal with me, and some far below me that it is not realistic. But none of you have put yourselves in your right place yet. Guilt and lack of self-acceptance have caused most people to hide their true feelings about their relationship to me. There are feelings around this image of me as a higher being, and feelings around the image of me as nothing more than the consciousness manifest on earth that need to move now. You have both wanted me to lift you out of your predicaments, and feared that there is nothing to lift you but the consciousness you find among yourselves. For a long time, the feelings toward me were being held so undercurrent that I was not receiving them. The mother knew these feelings were there, but she seldom approached me with them, because she felt too guilty, and because she had been unable to get me to accept anything I could not feel for myself. When she did try to bring these feelings forward, she received so much denial she feared she wasn't right. In addition to the undercurrents toward me, the mother could feel hard rejecting her and blaming her for our troubles. And she could feel the further Loka doing the same. She could feel the blame for the father of manifestation and feared it was her fault for calling him forth. She could feel the rest of the rainbow spirits rejecting everyone except a few of the angels. And she could feel the Godhead rejecting the father of manifestation and herself. She hated to feel like an outcast in her own creation, but she felt like there was no place that had acceptance for her. She longed for it to be different, and felt that there was so much lack of acceptance among the spirits that it had to be healed. Everywhere she went, she felt the spirits rejecting one another based, it seems to her, on what they didn't like about the Godhead. Most of the rejections were going on undercurrently, and so the mother got denied when she tried to point them out. The mother began to feel she was going crazy from the roar of unspoken things everyone else was pretending not to notice. Her attempts to get others to bring these unspoken things forward for resolution were met with so much rejection that the mother felt the spirits did not even want to see her coming, because then they would have to think about what she had to reflect to them. The mother feared more and more that her perceptions were not right, and that perhaps it was only her own reality that had the roar of unspoken unlovingness in it. Considering all the denial she had taken in, it was no wonder her reality was roaring with them. Lucifer sensed the mother here, as he so often did in her times of greatest uncertainty, and he told her what she was most afraid to hear. Lucifer told the mother that others were not making her crazy because she already made herself crazy, and that she was hearing the voices of her own insanity inside of herself. He told her that other people did not see or hear or feel these things, and that they were much more calm and peaceful than she was. He also told her that the spirits behaved much more harmoniously when she was not around, because she had a very disturbing effect on them. The mother really wanted to let me know what she was experiencing and how rejected she was feeling. But the rejection she was feeling from me did not encourage her to think she should give me even more of the kinds of communications she felt were already causing me to distance myself from her. It was true that I was avoiding her while pretending not to. And even when she was in my company, I still avoided certain areas with her. The innuendos she got from me made her feel that I did not find these areas of her acceptable to me, and that I was not open to receive them. She increasingly felt that it was her own inadequacies and shortcomings that were giving her the problems she was experiencing. The mother had no one to turn to because the father of manifestation was also avoiding her in these areas. The mother had guilt telling her all the time that she was not right to feel as she did, and that other spirits were more loving than she was because they did not feel the negative things that she felt. The mother held back her feelings even more then, and tried to look and act happier and more positive than she really felt, because she thought that this was the good thing and right thing to do, and that it was more loving. The mother tried to be more loving by trying to behave as much as she could in the way she thought others wanted her to behave. The mother needed and wanted my love, and she also wanted to have the love of the rest of the spirits. And so, she sought to win our love by trying to be what she thought we all wanted her to be. In so doing, the mother created many images of the Holy Mother that even now people do not know are not the real thing. These images are false will presents that became role models for the will. These false will images say by example that the will is supposed to strive to be totally and happily subservient to me. My desire is supposed to be the will's command, and the will's desire is supposed to be to obey my every wish and command. My desire is supposed to be the will's command, and the will's desire is supposed to be to obey my every wish and command. Discordant emotions were viewed as a lack of faith in me. In other words, the will was supposed to be a testimony to my boundless perfection and flawless wisdom through its joyful surrender, and this was supposed to glorify me. Long ago, I thought this was what I wanted. But when I think of it now, it makes me sick. It would have made me sick back then too, but then I was not allowing myself to know that this was what I was asking the will to do. I was insecure here, and I didn't allow myself to face the issues involved. I was playing a game of pretending I was allowing the will to be free, but all the while wanting her to give me the desired reflection of my perfection. My insecurities did not at first allow me to realize I was projecting the image that I was perfect already and that everyone else needed evolution. The mother knew from the beginning that this was not right, and I did not let her give me the reflections for a long time. I wanted the mother to give me the reflection I was seeking without having to go through any process of winning her trust or anything else. I didn't want to have any process at all, because I thought she should have automatic, immediate, and unfaltering faith in me because I was her man. Her questions seemed like a faithless undermining of the masculine image I wanted to have of myself. I had rage that wanted to force her. I had rage that wanted to force her compliance building around this issue because I was pretending to go along with her more than I wanted to. Because I had to see myself as the narrow kind of perfect that did not need process and did not make mistakes. I either had to pretend nothing was wrong or blame everything negative on someone else. Increasingly, I found myself doing these things. I pretended that nothing was wrong between the mother and me, and that I was just allowing her the freedom to do her thing when we were not together. Actually, I disliked and even hated her in the places where we were not aligned. I was blaming her there, saying everything that was wrong was her fault because she was not aligned with me, and yet claiming on the surface that I had no blame for anyone because everything was just fine as it was. When I was home, I found myself being entertained more and more by the angels and even finding lovers among them. The mother wasn't coming home with me anymore because I wasn't bringing her with me. And I wasn't allowing myself to know that she had lost the vibratory power to come on her own. The mother tried to use Heart as a middleman. She wanted Heart to intercede with me on her behalf, and Heart did not deliver the message. He felt that I would not receive them, and he judged that the mother was wrong to want him to intercede for her. When Heart did try to approach the subject by mentioning the imbalances he felt between the mother and me, I gave Heart only token response. When Heart felt my lack of response here, he did not press me further, because he felt that if I was not ready to respond to him on the issue of the mother, I was not ready to respond to the mother. Heart made assumptions here, and when he saw what it cost creation, guilt caused him to punish himself. Heart did not at first think it was his right place to deliver messages to me from the will. He felt the mother and I needed to contact one another directly and not use him as a go-between. Heart now knows that both approaches are fine, but we all had to learn that he was more involved in our relationship than we at first thought, since we viewed him as a child of our relationship. There are many lost will images of children involved in a sexual relationship. Intrigues and push-pulls between adults that make it look as though their involvement in their parents' relationship is as terrible for them as we originally judged it was going to be for Heart. Light in these areas will reveal new realities, because it is not possible to see other ways these relationships could take place until the judgments are released enough to let in new pictures. Lost will receives everything through the filter of what it is already holding, and so cannot receive anything new until it moves the old programming and the conditioning that says the old programming is right. Guilt is the reason this has not happened already. Although I did not respond too hard on the issue of the mother the way he would have liked me to. Hart did succeed in making me feel guilty about the mother, and guilt then caused me to go and seek her out more often than I might have otherwise. The mother was not looking very attractive to me anymore, and she was also looking strangely diminished. The mother already sensed my feelings about her enough that she felt unworthy and did not believe I loved her anymore. She was in agony over losing my love, but was afraid to show me this enough to let me realize that it was a large part of what was twisting her and making her look so awful. If the mother had had my love and acceptance, she could have handled the rest of the spirit's rejections, which actually then would not have been there for her because the spirits were reflecting my denials. As it was, the mother had distrust for me when I appeared before her, and believed that all the spirits were undercurrently aligned with me against her. She was ashamed to face me, because she knew I was not finding her to be very attractive anymore, and her confusion about love and appearance has many times been referred to as vanity. Lost Will has reflected this confusion about form and essence when people have stressed essence by saying it doesn't matter what a person looks like. It's what's inside that counts. And when form has been stressed by people who are overly concerned with appearances. Lost Will was reflected this confusion about form and essence when people have stressed essence by saying it doesn't matter what a person looks like. It's what's inside that counts. And when form has been stressed by people who are overly concerned with appearances. The whole reason this is even an issue is guilt. The mother had intuition telling her that her appearances was my fault, but she felt guilty about blaming me. Her blame got enraged when I got denied, and for a long time I did not come forward. When this lost will did come forward, it had a lost will picture of me as those who disfigure the earth and mutilate a woman. Some of this disfigurement is very subtle, but it is there nonetheless. Subtly does not always mean that what's being reflected is less intense than the more blatant forms either. Subtly often means that what's held there is so intense that immense guilt is allowing only a tiny amount of what's being held to be reflected. The mother also had intuition telling her that her appearance was a reflection of her inner self. The mother had a feeling that form was a reflection of the essence involved, but she lacked the understanding that form reflects how the essence feels about itself. The mother only knew that she did not like looking at herself anymore. The mother felt that love was a beautiful thing, and her loss of beauty made her fear that she was losing love somehow, either through the loss of my love or her own lack of loving response. The guilt that told her her problems were her own fault caused her to blame herself and increase her feelings of unworthiness. Guilt caused her to believe that she had lost her beauty and her position because she had not been loving enough to remain there. Because I was projecting a picture of myself as blameless, the mother believed she was the one that was wrong. Her rage that wanted to blame me as casual became even more seriously denied.